Best advice I've gotten in a while. Decide what kind of life you actually want, and then say no to everything that is not that. That was a post on Facebook. I don't know who the original author was, but I definitely needed it. Decide what kind of life you actually want, and then say no to everything that is not that. It sounds so simple, right? And it sounds like it's kind of like this perfect world where you believe that everything that you want is going to come to you in perfect form, in exactly the way you want it. But actually, that is very possible and very probable, especially if you don't settle for less than that. I'm like, why can't it be that simple? Because I don't know about you, but I have definitely wasted a lot of time and energy and love and giving and a lot of myself I've put it into people, situations, experiences that were not what I actually wanted. And you know what part of the problem was? Is that I didn't decide beforehand what kind of life I actually wanted. I kind of let life move through me and, lead me to wherever it wanted to. And I know, like, I talk a lot about the universe and how the universe can often have a better plan for us than we have for ourselves. But the universe also hears what kind of plan or what kind of decisions you decide are good for you. And if you don't even have a decision for yourself, the universe can't help you achieve what it is that you want if you don't actually clarify what it is that you want, and it has to be clear to you first. I do believe that there are situations that happen in our lives that we didn't expect or didn't plan, and sometimes they feel like the best thing ever. And so I definitely, my name, Tasleem, meaning surrender, I definitely agree with the idea of surrendering to where the universe might want to take you. But I also do think that it's really important and makes it much more satisfying to actually decide what kind of life do you want. And I have seen a lot of friends, family members, acquaintances, people around me get into really messy situations, either for the short term or long term, with sometimes really dire consequences because they didn't decide before they left their home, before they went out on that date, before they put on a profile on online dating, what kind of life they actually wanted. They instead decided that, oh yeah, that person, I want that person, without regards to whether or not that person actually fits in what you want, what kind of life you want. And I'm not pointing a finger. I am definitely not pointing a finger out there at other people. I am saying this because I know that this was my biggest problem and one of my biggest problems. And the thing is that if I am doing this, sometimes we don't see what we're doing to ourselves until we see other people doing it to themselves. And when I see friends and people around me that do this, like, I'm like, oh, now it makes sense to me that, yeah, I haven't been deciding what it is that I want. And I can see when friends or acquaintances around me haven't decided what it is that they really want, and then they complain about these relationships that they're in. But it's the deciding factor beforehand. And it's the giving yourself permission to say no without explanation, without giving a chance in a situation that really isn't lined up for you, just say no, because it's like saying no. I know it's sort of cliche right now, but saying no to things that aren't really what kind of life you want is means that you're saying yes to what it is that you really do want. And that's the part that I was definitely missing. I was saying yes to maybe it's not quite there, but like, yeah, okay, let's try it. I've had people in my life convince me that we should try it, because try a relationship, try this situation, whatever, because they could probably see that I was indecisive. I hadn't quite figured out what I wanted, and they definitely hadn't figured out what kind of life they wanted, or they just thought it's okay to, mess up my goals and where I want to go. But if I had decided beforehand what I wanted, it doesn't matter how nice this person is, how good looking they are, where they're going, what they believe about me. I feel free to say no, and to not even have to explain, and just to feel good that I'm saying yes to myself for something bigger and better and something more in line with what I actually want. But I have to decide what it is that I want. And the reason that this came up for me specifically today was that recently I have been in situations where people have proposed certain situations to me, that certain offers of like hanging out, of trying this as a relationship, or that they think that we might be good to with each other. And I was very aware that I said no, especially in one situation. I straight out just said no with no explanation, and that person just looked at me. But what I realized was that when I said no without an explanation, my decisiveness came out very clearly, and that person left me alone. But if I had said no because, I don't feel like this, I mean, I do this, I've done this a lot, where I've added extra to the no, and that gives the person an in to try to convince me, because they can see that I'm convincible, that I am flexible on my supposed commitments to myself. And so I hadn't really committed to what I wanted, but I have to decide beforehand what it is that I want. Yeah, I feel really proud of myself that I can feel into, like, I don't need to explain to someone else what it is that I want. Like, I hate that situation too. It's like someone asks, well, what is it that you want? And if I don't word it in the way that they want, then they kind of accuse me of not knowing what I want. But if I just straight out say no, because I actually know, and I can feel that this is not the right situation for me, it is so empowering. And lately it has steered me away from wasting time. It has made me feel like I can get back to myself and get back to what it is that I really want. Yeah, so today I am going out into the world knowing what I want. That doesn't mean that I fixate on, it's not a particular person or a particular look or a particular job or race or culture or anything like that. It's just a feeling, it's a energy, it's how I'm being treated, how I'm being spoken to. It's how that person shows up in their life, in other areas of their life. Like, if it's not consistent, then I don't feel very safe to be trusting that person. And I am sitting in my self-trust now. So yeah, I really do believe in this. Like, if you decide what kind of life it is that you actually want, and you say no to everything that is not that, not just in romantic relationships, but in your job, in your home situation, in your, going out socially, whatever, in your friendships, I just can see this being, rather than a simplistic, like, oh, maybe that's not really possible, or that's not really realistic. I can actually see this, the more that people do this, I feel like energetically it's going to empower other people to do it. Like, I feel like when I say no to someone, even though that might not be the answer that they want to hear, I feel like it may give them a sense of they can do that. I've had people around me that I've seen do that in their situations, and I'm like, wow, how come I can't do that? And then I'm like, well, actually I can, I'm just not doing it. So the more I do it, I think that I will be hopefully empowering others to do it as well. And again, it doesn't mean that I'm saying no to everything in life. It means that I'm saying yes to what is actually really in line with what kind of life I actually want. I hope you're having a good, weekend for me right now, but wherever you're at, whatever day you're on, whenever you hear this, I hope you go out and allow yourself to say no to anything that is not in line with what you want. Make sure you know what you want before you go out there, and the yeses will be way more clear. And I think that we will draw in the yeses faster, and it will become a magnet for the yeses, the hell yeses, the heaven yeses. Thanks for listening.